Hi, I'm Old Sneelock. Welcome to another episode of Old Sneelock's Workshop.
A while back, 07 Roadking and I had a little discussion about Stanley number 78 planes. He was looking for pieces for his, and I had some pieces, and I said, maybe we can work out a deal where I get you the pieces and you're all set. Well, turns out he found a better deal on eBay, and so we didn't do the transaction. So I have this plane. 07 Roadking said, I've got the plane all together now, but would you be interested in making a video about refurbishing a Stanley number 78? Well, I had one that needed to have it done. I'd already done the one, but I've learned some things since then. So I thought, sure, why not? So here you go.
Today we're going to talk about the Stanley number 78 plane. Now this one I've gone through and refurbished. But I made a promise that I was going to go through and show how I do it. And I just happen to have another donor problem here that I can fix. So this is the one I'm going to be working on today. First thing I need to do is take off all the components and parts that are going to be in the way. This is going to get cleaned up separately. Along with that, I am going to leave the blade in place, but I'm going to bring the blade up. Now on this plane it doesn't really make a whole lot of difference as far as flattening the bottom, whether this is in place or not. There's not a lot of leverage on that, but it's no harm in trying, and I'm going to do the best I can to make this thing work well. So I'm going to follow normal practice and leave this blade slightly up. Take this specially constructed flattening plate, which is just a piece of plate glass inlet into a board so that I can clamp it up snug. Now this part of the operation gets really dirty, so I'm going to wear a pair of gloves. Now with the blade up, so that I don't hit the blade on the sandpaper, I'm going to work on just the bottom. Then I'll take out the nicker and the blade clamp, and I'll flatten this side just slightly. Doesn't need to be a whole lot. I'm mostly just cleaning off the rust on this. I want to end up with this straight and square like it is right now. So I don't want to take off a whole lot of material, I just want to clean up the surface. Since the goal is to have everything straight and flat, and this is already straight and flat this way, and straight and flat that way, no need to take off anything more than I have to. Now, I'm told this is a Sargent. I haven't researched it. Not really interested in finding out at this point. The Sargent is supposed to have this little horn on the front here, which makes it easier to push. I'm starting with 80 grit. I'll move up to 100. Yeah, that looks pretty good actually. I could leave it like this. I'm going to take it down just a little bit more, see if I can't get that area cleaned up right there. Now that's not all iron. This sandpaper is not the greatest. It came in a batch on a roll, so I'm just using it up. But it tends to lose grit pretty quickly. Okay, I think that's good for the 80 grit. Just lift the plate up, brush off the sanding dust so it doesn't get trapped underneath the plate. Flip it over. I got 120 and 150 to work with. Done with the 120. Now the 150. That's pretty good. It doesn't have to be polished. Some people like to take it out to polish, and I got no problem with them doing that, but I just don't see any advantage to it. Now I'm going to break the edges. And that surface is all nice and flat. Doesn't have to be complicated. I'll take out the nicker. We'll set this aside for touch-up later. These can get stuck in there. Now when this plane is assembled, this blade actually sticks out this side just slightly. I don't want to have that blade getting ground off while I'm trying to flatten this area, so I'm just going to take it out. Got some material to remove on this side. I've got quite a dip right there. If I don't take that grit off, it acts like ball bearings and just the plane just rolls across the top of it. Cuts down the cutting action. Getting there. Going slow though. Now you might wonder why I didn't paint this first and then sand off to the paint. I found that paint takes a long time to dry, which slows down the process. And also, it gets messed up when I'm doing this part of the job. So rather than going through and having to touch up the paint again, after waiting a couple of days for it to set up, I've just decided that from that point on, I'm just going to sand them down, square them up, flatten the plate and the blades, and get all the dirty work done first, and then tape off the parts that I don't want to get painted, and paint it. Still holding true, that's good. Because this is such a wide surface, I'm not as likely to rock it and get it out of square. But I still want to check it because it's a lot easier to put a little more pressure on the high side while you're doing this part of it than it is to come back later and try and square it up. Especially after I've done all the work of getting the rust off of it and really made a mistake and caused myself more problems. So checking as I go, always a good idea. Okay, all I've got is a little bit right here, and that's just strictly cosmetic. I'm going to just take some hand sandpaper and sand that down a little bit. After I get the rest of it polished up, take it through the grits. Because each time I up a grit, I don't really take off a whole lot of material. I just take out the scratches from the coarser grit in front of it. But it does remove some. And hopefully, a good bit of that is going to go away just in stepping up the grit. And what I'm doing with the paintbrush handle, I'm just shoving it up through that hole in the bottom there so that I can get the plate out of the holder. I originally had a fancy ejection pin on there, and I spent a lot of time making it, and it was really difficult to use. And one of you guys said, why don't you just drill a hole big enough to stick your finger through? And I said, that's why I ask you guys questions. Suggestions about a new video. Yep. "6,000 minds are better than one." Okay, that's 120. And I'm actually making an inroad in that area right there. Not a big one, but it is getting a little more polished. There, I think we got it. I'll break those edges so I don't end up with a sharp edge there. Sometimes you want a sharp edge, but on something that's going to get bumped, all it is a place for that thin wire edge to get broken off. Now I've got this nice straight and flat. I'm going to have to go through with some hand sandpaper and touch up these areas that are kind of rusty where the blade sits. If you have any suggestions for a new video, questions about today's video, or any of the other videos on the channel, just drop a note in the comments. You know I read them all. Thanks for watching.